Here we are
in another episode
of the Simple Success Podcast.
And
this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective.
Yay, still coaching happiness. What paradigms have you shifted so far? Are we still talking about this paradigm stuff? Yes, we are. Do you know what we say about change? What do we say?
You change everything.
Oh, that. Yeah, I do remember. So once in a while, we need to take stock of what paradigms have changed. Or shifted. Changed, shifted, same thing. They are red flags. What? In our 83rd episode? Red flags should never be ignored, no matter what episode. Is that a topic for today's pod? Well, yeah, it's related. It was originally titled, I used to avoid red flags at tax time, but now I know better. Interesting. Does that mean you no longer avoid them? That's exactly what I said. Okay. Are those red flags made of red fabric? Negative, DT. Red flags are not just made of red fabric. They can be anything signaling future trouble. Ah, okay. Like a broken window? Or an old car with bad brakes? Well, yeah, but today we're talking about red flags related to tax returns. Gotcha. I didn't know that there were warning signals related to tax returns. The IRS has some pretty strict rules on how you file your taxes. Okay, it'd be nice to know them. If you don't follow these rules, you could get audited and face penalties. Sounds like something I would want to avoid at all costs. Exactly. I too would want to avoid them with every fiber of my being. Okay, so let's talk about tax returns. Let's start by looking at the most common tax return mistakes. Sounds good. There are three main areas where people make mistakes when filing their taxes. Well, let's get into them. Well, first, they fail to report income. Wait, must I report my income? The whole of it? Well, actually, you don't have to, but I wouldn't really recommend that course of action. At least not publicly. You were saying? Whoever is involved in this tax collection business is nosy. Why should they bother with my side hustle money? Good question. You know your Social Security number is connected to your earnings, don't you? No, but I'm sure it is. Sure it is. So if you're self-employed, then you'll pay Social Security taxes on all your earnings. Just like everyone else does. And if you earn a lot every year, then you could also owe Medicare taxes. I'm getting ready for a nap here. Second, people forget to include deductions. Oh, that wakes me up. You know, I've heard of forgetting to put things down on paper. Now I understand why. Deductible expenses are items that reduce taxable income. For example, say you work as a contractor. You might deduct expenses such as home office rent, phone bills, etc. I'm just having my CPA write everything down. Yeah, too complicated for me. Well, better get it than complicate your life by ignoring the red flags, which takes us to the third red flag. Right, third, people fail to claim exemptions. I hereby claim that I am exempt from paying taxes. Nice try, DD. But you, or your CPA, you have to be sure of your tax exemption status. What? How come I am not exempt? I love exemptions. Well, first of all, you need to check with the IRS to find out if you qualify for any exemptions. What are the verification procedures? They can be found online. These days, everything is found online, so ignorance is no defense. What happens to people who overlook these said red flags? If it's unreported income, then they could end up owing back taxes and interest. That's horrible. What if the government owes me instead? Not likely. The IRS has better things to do than chase after deadbeats for federal tax money. Well then, in that case, I'll just run and hide. Run and hide? Yeah, that's a good option. You speak like someone who's got a first-hand experience with the IRS. Well, yeah, I do, as a financial coach. But don't worry, we'll get through this together. All right. So how do I avoid these mistakes? One thing is we make sure we're fully refreshed at all times. Ah, right, like we get with...
Break number 1.
Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us. Please head over to the support link in our written show notes. That's the words on your podcast player. There, you can choose from a $9.99 per month doing level of support, a $4.99 knowing level, or a basic intro level of just 99 cents per month. Great place to start. Whichever you choose, thank you so much for helping us do this for you. And to leave us a voice message, which just might see the light of day in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes. You'll go to a site where you can leave a video, audio, or text-only message, depending on how you feel at the moment. You can also send us an audio file attached to an email if you use just more than your phone for stuff. I won't repeat those links because weird. And anyway, show notes. It's all in there, and it's all easy.
Before the break, you were about to tell us how to avoid those tax mistakes.
Yeah, more like how not to overlook red flags at tax time.
Yeah, whatever. How do I stay away from trouble with the IRS?
Always keep track of your finances, charitable contributions, actual expenses, business expenses, and that sort of thing. It's what a CPA is for.
Oh yeah? Why is that important?
It's very important. It helps you get organized so that you don't forget any tax declarations or deductions when tax time comes.
Oh, you mean I should also do a tax audit?
Yeah, DT. It's good practice to audit yourself and catch the common red flags before they get you in trouble.
What about tax evasion? I know we can be a little smart with our financial records sometimes.
Someone said that income tax has made more liars out of the American people than golf.
Well, that doesn't sound like a tax professional. Must be Will Rogers.
Yeah, you're right about that one, DT.
Well, what if you get away with it?
The problem with dishonesty is that you have to invent more lies to cover the previous ones. The system will catch up with you eventually.
This sounds like an invitation to commit fraud.
If you want to commit fraud, but in this pod, we play clean and base our success on honesty.
I guess I could just pay my taxes on time.
That's the spirit we need to win.
What if someone pretends to be Doubting Thomas and does some weird stuff that could put me in trouble?
That would be identity theft. Incidents of identity theft are usually reported to the police.
Some malicious person could impersonate me and open foreign accounts for money laundering. I wouldn't know if there's an investigation by tax agencies going on.
Yeah, you're right. It's happened to me, in fact.
Really? Do tell.
Well, it wasn't super awful. I went to file a return a few years ago, and someone filed ahead with my number, hoping for a refund which wasn't there.
So, everything's okay now?
Yes, but there is a risk of identity theft nowadays, with personal data all over the internet. The Federal Trade Commission has a requirement on all businesses, including banks, called the Red Flags Rule.
Yeah? How does this red flag policy work?
The FTC's Red Flags Rule requires every company doing business with consumers to establish procedures to identify and respond to suspicious activity.
Sounds kind of like CAPTCHA.
Well, not exactly.
Well, pretty serious anyway. What hints of identity theft should I look out for?
It's easy. Just look for notifications on your email or your phone if something suspicious is happening with your data.
Oh, so I am protected against identity thieves?
Well, yeah. The federal government has put identity verification measures in place for identity theft deterrence.
Are those all the red flags that I should look out for?
Well, there are more. Another common red flag is if you fall in the high income bracket.
High income bracket? How high?
It moves based on whatever gets set for audit triggers.
Wow, isn't that our goal? To think and grow rich?
Yes. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to file your taxes without getting audited. If you have earned the money honestly, you'll be comfortable, even with a tax audit.
How often are high income earners audited?
Well, data changes from year to year, of course, but high income earners tend to get audited more often.
So, what do I need to do to avoid being audited?
Make sure you keep track of all the income and expenses, including your charitable deductions. Don't try to cover up any mistakes. Record every single thing. Remember that higher incomes are likely to be associated with more complicated tax returns that are more prone to trigger an audit.
Which we should not worry about because we're honest folks, right?
Right. If you've got the data, it's fine. Don't worry about it. More importantly, the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, wants to maximize its return on investment, something it gets better at every year.
Oh, well, they must also be listening to this pod and taking the financial coaching seriously.
Anyone who listens to this podcast is setting themselves up for success.
Is it safe to do business with offshore companies?
That's probably a good question, but I'm tired.
That's the way things work in this biz.
Okay, DT, I'll soldier on with that answer.
But first, break number 2.
We know a lot about you already Because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. So as soon as you're done with that, tell us your story. We have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a message. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. The reason for subscribing? I thought you'd never ask. When you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. It just happens in your player without you having to go search again. How cool is that? This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, whatever app and from whatever place you like. And don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es bueno. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it, and you win too.
Before the break, I asked whether it is safe to do business with offshore companies.
Yeah, you did. Do you have an offshore company you want to do business with? Our friend is going international? Like some beachfront property or something?
Ah, there you go again, poking fun at me.
Got me there. This wouldn't be coaching happiness without making a little or a lot of fun at DT, now would it?
Glad to be of service. Will you focus now and answer my question?
Yep, doing that now. Offshore companies and overseas assets are not illegal. They are legal entities formed under the laws of different countries, and they're a valid source of business income. They provide advantages such as privacy and confidentiality.
Privacy and confidentiality? Why don't we use them all the time?
Because they are expensive. You can pay someone else to handle your affairs, but you still have to deal with the paperwork. But that's a rabbit hole we're not going down today.
Fair enough. Now for the juicy part. Please tie in these red flags to investing.
I've been waiting for that. Investments are part of the multiple streams of income, or if you like, MSIs. They earn interest and can easily complicate your tax returns.
No way. I thought we were seeking a soft life by investing so that we enjoy the returns and not complicate our lives.
Red flag detected.
Okay, soft life it is. You can hire the services of an accountant or a tax specialist to help you keep your records if you're making enough profits from your investment income.
Ah, records again?
Very important at every step of your financial journey.
That is a discipline I have to work hard at nurturing.
Oh, just outsource it.
What if I still can't afford to hire an accountant?
It can be cheap compared to the risk of examination. When you receive withholding tax certificates from your different investments, keep them safe for tax time and give them to a tax expert who will help you in the filing of all your tax returns.
And practice self-discipline in keeping financial records.
Yep, that's right. So let's go through our points once more. Red flag number 1,
failing to declare all your income.
That's right. Red flag number 2,
failing to note your deductions.
Correct. And the third one?
My favorite, failing to note your tax exemptions. I should check my exemptions after this, by the way.
Never forget to remember.
Is that correct grammar?
Thank you, English teacher DT, for pointing that out. For now, though, we're still in our financial class here.
You know, you can also practice good grammar in that too, right?
In finances? Yeah, okay. I know you can better your best at anything with constant practice and repetition, even keeping your financial records.
Okay, we've agreed that I will be keeping tabs on every dollar I make and spend. Don't rub it in so much.
Record everything, even the profit you make from investing in NFTs and cryptocurrency. There is also crypto tax software you can use for this.
NFTs?
Non-fungible tokens, the latest invention in crypto. And that's another rabbit hole for future episodes.
But soon, right?
Soon enough, I'm sure.
I realize there is so much that I need to learn in the quest for success.
This podcast is a cheat code for life.
You can say that again.
Yeah, you can, but I won't mix it in. And then no one has to hear it. And we all win together.
And become simply successful.
And you too can practice and join the successful team by clicking the subscribe button.
Practice.
Which is how you've all gotten good.
Gracias por escuchar.
A la prochaine. This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes
Techno King, John C. Brandy, Fact Checker, Abraham Lincoln, Script Consultant, OpenAI, Language Consultant, Ever Evolving, Media Expert, Favor Abassi EK, Psychologist, William James, Rabbit Hole Advisor, Dr. Mark Barrett, Sound Designer, Guglielmo Marconi, Videographer, Alfred Hitchcock, Inspiration, many podcasts and other sources, and of course Napoleon Hill.
We also have websites, and you can subscribe to both podcasts and get ebooks and other great stuff. You can send us a video, audio, or text message, but of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to actually get links and stuff. And those clickable links are in the show notes.
And before we forget, the artificial intelligence or AI voices you hear in our work come from Google, Amazon Polly, OpenAI, and the online tone generator linked in the show notes.
Finally, you can find us on podmatch.com and matchmaker.fm, where we consider guests and guesting on other pods.
And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams. The sound effects credits go to Jackson Academy Ashmore, Canoe CG, Dr. Jekyll, Joe Payne, Everything Sounds, MK Play More Stories, ERH, Sand Emotions, Big Pickle 51, and Just Good Inc. Yes. That's his or her name, all on freesound.org.